George Russell has finally been announced as a Mercedes driver, while Max Verstappen has racked up another record. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our official home on unbeaten.com. George Russell's future was finally revealed this week, ahead of the Italian Grand Prix, with the British young gun announced as a Mercedes driver from 2022 alongside Sir Lewis Hamilton. Russell, a longtime Mercedes protege, will replace Valtteri Bottas, who has been confirmed on a multi-year deal at Alfa Romeo Racing. It's expected Russell will take the fight to Hamilton, with the 23-year-old not just razor sharp, but the natural successor to his champion countryman. The watershed moment came at last year's Sakhir Grand Prix, in which Russell stood in for a COVID-19 affected Hamilton, and not just qualified within 26 one-thousandths of a second of Bottas, but passed him twice in the race, including off the line into turn 1 for maximum impact. Max Verstappen's win at Zandvoort for Red Bull on Sunday not only proved he's got nerves of steel, given the weight of expectation from a fevered home crowd and pressure all the way from Sir Lewis Hamilton, but it could also be an omen for a maiden world title, with his 17th win breaking the record for most victories without a crown, previously held by the late great Sir Stirling Moss. Alex Albon could be on the cusp of a return to the grid with Williams next year, as long as Red Bull releases him from his contract. Albon was dropped from Red Bull's top team at the end of last year, with a 25-year-old relegated to test and simulator driver, though he's since dovetailed that with a race-winning DTM drive. But Albon could return to race in F1 next year, with Mercedes boss Toto Wolff admitting in Zandvoort he was happy to work with him, as long as he's a free agent clear of Red Bull's strings. He's a driver that deserves his seat in Formula One, Wolff said at the Dutch Grand Prix, but it's tricky to have a 100% Red Bull driver on a Mercedes power unit. Albon is up against incumbent Nicholas Latifi and Merc protege Nick de Vries, who won the 2020-21 Formula E World Championship. 2007 F1 World Champion Kimi Raikkonen didn't race in Zandvoort after testing positive for COVID-19, but managed to announce his retirement from the sport before isolating. The Iceman, in his 19th season at the top, said that he made the difficult decision over the European winter and that it was time for new things. Formula One might come to an end for me, but there is a lot more in life that I want to experience and enjoy, he said. The Finn will see out his F1 career at Alfa Romeo Racing, the squad with whom he made his debut at the 2001 Australian Grand Prix, then known as Sauber Petronas. He returned to the outfit in 2019, following race-winning stints for McLaren, Lotus, and Ferrari, with whom he lifted the crown in 2007, and remains the last world champion for the Scuderia. Raikkonen is one of F1's great characters, one unafraid to tread his own path in a paddock full of on-brand conformists, something his fans have adored about him from the outset.
Nobody really knows what I do or what I think, apart from myself, so I don't really care what people say.
Raikkonen is the most experienced F1 driver in the history of the sport, with 341 starts, and has amassed 21 wins, 18 poles, and 46 fastest laps, for third on the all-time list, a sterling record at the top. Alfa Romeo test driver Robert Kubica replaced the Iceman in Zandvoort and finished 15th. It's likely he will get another shot at Monza. Mick Schumacher has lamented the lack of racing he's doing for Haas, despite regular clashes with his teammate Nikita Mazepin. Haas's 2021 car is a barely updated version of what it ran last season, a step it took to throw all its resources into the sport's forthcoming new era. But it has come at a cost to his development, said Schumacher to F1's official podcast, Beyond the Grid.
I don't get to race or have those duels every race, which, you know, is obviously a positive, because if I know who I'm racing and how they're racing, if let's say next year the car is a lot more, you know, competitive, then I straight away know what to expect.
The German, who was the son of 7-time F1 world champion Michael, took Haas's best result for the year so far in Hungary with 12th. And while his chance at points is slim, he's keeping his chin up.
I think that everybody wants to be competitive, but obviously there's only one guy or one car that is going to win. So for me, we knew it was going to be difficult. So my mindset was really much set on that. Still, yes, I do get frustrated at times, but I would say it doesn't affect my driving.
The late great Michele Alboreto will be honored at this weekend's Italian Grand Prix, with Monza's legendary final turn, the Parabolica, renamed Curva Alboreto to mark 20 years since his passing. Alboreto, who started 194 Grands Prix between 1981 and 1994, claimed his best results at Ferrari, with whom he scored 3 of his 5 F1 wins and also finished runner-up in the 1985 World Championship. Alboreto was killed in April 2001 testing an Audi R8 at the Lausitz-Ring in Germany after he experienced a tire failure at 300 kilometers per hour. Miami has dipped its cap to Europe by naming its Formula One circuit the Miami International Autodrome. Plans for the second US event, set for early May 2022, are ramping up, with the promoters already working on the fan experience. Local interest in the race is on the rise, with 150,000 inquiries for tickets and hospitality packages, and 1/3 of those from corporate clients, despite no on-sale date confirmed yet. The event recently invested in European expertise by recruiting Richard Cregan as its CEO, the Irishman having worked with Abu Dhabi, Russia, and before that with former squad Toyota. Located around 20 minutes from downtown Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, the 5.41-kilometer track features 19 turns and an estimated top speed of 320 kilometers per hour. The circuit layout winds its way around the home of the Miami Dolphins NFL team before looping back for a flat-out blast. Another technical section leads to another long straight, with a hairpin at turn 17 bringing the cars back to complete the lap. 3 DRS zones are expected for maximum passing opportunities. Construction is ongoing at Abu Dhabi's gargantuan Yas Marina circuit, where it's hoped that track layout changes will improve overtaking at the billion-dollar UAE facility. The track, which made its F1 debut in 2008, is notoriously difficult for passing, with just 83 overtakes recorded, not including the opening lap across the past 3 events. The changes are at turn 11 to 14 that have been replaced with a banked loop, an opened-up hotel section, and turn 7, where the hairpin has been widened and the preceding chicane removed. But Jano Zaffelli, whose company Dromo is involved in the construction, says he's confident there will be an improvement to the racing.
I'm really excited to see what will be the outcome. The modifications were driven principally by F1, so they had a very clear idea of what to do based on their calculation. We didn't jump into the design as we did in Zandvoort, for example, or in Paul Ricard.
All 10 F1 teams have been handed a $1.2 million windfall, with an extended cost cap from 23 events not reduced in the aftermath of the Japanese Grand Prix cancellation. F1 brought in a new $145 million cap this year, but for each event over 21, it's increased by $1.2 million. Meaning for 23, it extended out to $147.4 million. And that's where it will remain, despite Japan's cancellation, bringing the number of races down to 22, ensuring the teams reap the reward. In real life, it triggers some extra costs, but not a lot. So the benefit you get from that, and the increase of the cost cap already by that, is huge. It is bigger than any of the crashes we have seen so far this year, said McLaren's Andreas Seidel. IndyCar's return to Portland, Oregon this week will see another familiar European name on the grid, with the addition of Callum Ilott for Juncos Hollinger Racing in its number 7 Chevrolet. Ilott, a member of the Ferrari Driver Academy, was second in last year's Formula 2 campaign to Mick Schumacher, but with limited options for F1 next year, has traveled to the US for a guest drive. This will be my first time in the NTT IndyCar Series and running in the United States, which will be a bit of a change from running on the European side, he said. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.